Welcome to the China Influencer Marketing Podcast. Each week, we speak with top influencers, marketers, and brands who share their experiences, strategies, and tactics for influencer marketing in China. Here's your host, Lauren Hallinan.
Hi everyone, in this episode we chat with McDavid Stoddard, Director of Merchant Partnerships, and Yi Li, Marketing Director, from the cross-border e-commerce platform Beyond, which in Chinese is called 别样. Beyond is an up-and-coming cross-border e-commerce platform for Chinese consumers. They haven't been talked about much in Western media, but they are definitely worth paying attention to. They have 1 million monthly active users and are already working with some big names such as Alexander Wang, Lord & Taylor, Everlane, Harrods, and many, many other brands. In the first half of this episode, we discuss Beyond's unique business model and the pain points they solve for Chinese consumers. Then, in the second half of the interview, we learn about their marketing and content creation. Part of Beyond's unique selling proposition is that they have an in-house content creation team that publishes daily original content on the app, sharing new products, styling tips, and educating consumers about the brands and products that they work with. According to Beyond, the average user spends 25 minutes each day browsing the content on the app. In addition to creating their own content, the team also helps brands partner with Chinese influencers on a variety of platforms, including Weibo, WeChat, and Bilibili. Yi relays her experiences with influencer marketing in China and driving sales on Beyond. And at the very end of the podcast, she shares some really interesting thoughts regarding the growing trend of celebrities making influencer-like content and whether it's better to work with celebrities or influencers. Before we start, I just want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsor, Parklu. Parklu is China's premier influencer marketing platform. Learn more at parklu.com. And as VP of live streaming at the Meet Group, I'd also like to thank them for their support of this podcast. The Meet Group is a portfolio of mobile social entertainment apps designed to meet the universal need for human connection. If you're interested in the global live streaming industry, be sure to check out our new podcast, Stream On, as well as our company blog. Learn more at themeetgroup.com/blog. And now, onto our interview with McDavid and Yi from Beyond. Hi, McDavid and Yi. Welcome to the China Influencer Marketing Podcast. I'm really excited to have you guys on today and learn a little bit more about the company that you work for, which is Beyond. I think that you're an upcoming platform, and I don't think there's too much about you guys right now in Western media, and so I'm really excited to learn more about the platform and what makes you guys unique. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, Lauren.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, if you could go ahead and maybe introduce yourselves, just what role you are in the company, and then maybe just introduce the platform and what it does.
Sure. So this is McDavid. I am the Director of Merchant Partnerships at the Beyond app.
I'm E. Originally from China, but now I'm based in Silicon Valley with McDavid. I'm the director of the marketing team. I'm responsible to promote Beyond basically to the China market.
Awesome. Okay, and could you share a bit about Beyond and just what is Beyond?
Yeah, so this is, my day-to-day involves explaining Beyond in English to our merchants. So I'll give a quick background. So Beyond, or 别样 in Chinese, is basically, in its essence, a scaled version of the Daigou model. And for listeners out there who aren't familiar with the Daigou model, this is basically representative buyers in the US or in Europe who maybe have like a WeChat Rolodex of friends and family who need them to help buy U.S. products or European products and have them shipped over to China. So we basically created a marketplace app. Everything's in Chinese. There's content that we'll talk about later on. We have obviously checkout and take Chinese payment methods, and we offer multiple shipping products into China. So we give sort of the domestic shoppers in China a very scalable, reliable, safe channel to buy U.S. products, and we partner directly with all the merchants. So it's a much more authentic, on-brand shopping experience for everyone.
Okay. And I guess I think you kind of explained it, but what makes Beyond different than some of the other cross-border e-commerce platforms that are out there?
Yeah, good question. So I would say the main thing that differentiates Beyond is that we are 100% fulfilled out of the US or Europe. So we don't use any of these like fulfilled out of a Hong Kong warehouse options. We don't use any of the like Baoshuichu, the bonded warehouses in China that are quite common with like a Kaola or a JD or a Tmall. So our channel is the one place where you can 100% get the same pricing that you would see on the US website, the same shopping experience. And you'll also know that product is shipped directly from America.
Okay, so then for the Chinese consumer, why would they choose to buy a product through Beyond versus just going to the brand's website?
Maybe do you want to take that question?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. First of all, I think a lot of customers. Well, I think our customers are very curious about what's happening outside of the country. They're very curious about how to say the products, the most trendy products. So we actually have a lot of products that's probably not selling in China. For example, like CK or a SD loader, right?
Yeah, so like a product asymmetry. So it'd be like maybe a very new release or something that's not yet available in China.
Yeah, usually it takes a half year or a year long for these brands to access China. So they can always buy the newest product version or newest colors through Beyond. And the price in United States are sometimes very much lower than they are in China as well. I think that's the main two reasons.
Yeah. So basically, price and product asymmetry are sort of the two pillars that drive our customers to shop through Beyond app.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess. Is there a benefit for them to use for example, if they're going to buy that product from abroad, is there a benefit for them to use the Beyond app versus just going onto that like brand.com like US site and buying it there?
Yeah, good question. So I've yet to see a US or European website who has covered all the friction points for Chinese shoppers better than we have. So those friction points, the first being the language barrier, which is sort of the most obvious. The language barrier is going to really prevent Chinese users from feeling comfortable kind of browsing around your site and discovering things. There's many cases where someone might be able to copy and paste red lipstick into the search bar and then find the one they're looking for. But they're going to run into problems like if a random pop-up comes up saying, do you want 15% off or do you accept the use of cookies? Like something like that could cause them to get confused. So the language is really the first thing we take care of. Our entire app is in Mandarin. We have content in Mandarin. The checkout's all in Mandarin. So it's much easier in that regard. The second thing being payment. Payment's a really big deal because less than 1% of Chinese consumers have a foreign credit card. So that would be something like Visa, MasterCard, American Express. So that's a major impediment to shopping directly from these merchants, as many still don't offer an Alipay, WeChat Pay, or Union Pay credit card checkout. So Mandarin content payment method. The third also being shipping. This one is also really a big deal. There are many of our partners actually work with one of these sort of like shipping one size fits all conglomerates that might offer shipping to like 100 countries for you. But the China shipping product that they use is really expensive. And it's not what the high tile shopper, the cross-border shopper, is accustomed to. They want a slightly cheaper postal product. So we offer both what we would call delivery duty paid and delivery duty unpaid shipping products. One being a little bit quicker and more expensive, the other being a little bit cheaper and slower. So we have better, cheaper options for shipping. And we also have what we're seeing to be more and more important as the app has gone on is our customer service. And obviously the customer service needs to be able to interact with the customer in Chinese, as we get a lot of inbound questions about sizing. And no matter how great of a sizing chart you make in whatever language you put it in, people are not going to be confident, and then we're going to reach out to customer service to get some guidance there. So we have a customer service team that is particularly trained on sizing on a lot of these hot selling SKUs we have where sizing is an issue. So they can give the Chinese shopper some guidance from a Chinese sizing perspective as to what would be the best product to choose.
And our customers are also asking a lot of questions about promotions and about the GWP, the BOGO, everything. These are, it's very hard for them to talk directly with an English-speaking customer service.
Yeah. So like when there's a sale going on, there might be like, some of these sort of like spend $35, get XYZ GWP are a little confusing, and they might have questions, and Chinese shoppers do love a deal. So.
Right. Their English language level might not be up to, being able to discuss that or understand all of the specifics of the deal.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, so I have a couple questions that I thought of while you guys were talking, trying to understand the platform a little bit better. So currently, right now, I don't know if you have like a ballpark of, how many users do you guys have, and also how many brands are on board?
Yeah, great question. So user-wise, we actually, in the past, I think 2 weeks, we just hit our 4 millionth download of the app.
Oh, wow.
But in terms of activeness, we're at about 1 million monthly active users at the moment. And if you look back, trailing like 2 or 3 months, it's closer to about 2 million monthly active users, or quarterly active users.
Okay.
And then in terms of brands on the platform, we technically have thousands of brands on the platform through our department store and multi-brand retailer relationships. But as far as like physical .com brands and retailers that we're integrated with, we're currently around 40, and we're rapidly increasing that number as we're adding about one a week so far this quarter.
Okay. And so these brands, are they in any particular segment? Are they all luxury? Are there like other, more average price range brands? Are they fashion? Like what kind of brands? Is it anything and everything? What are you guys focused on?
Yeah, so we have like a cohort of U.S. Department stores. So Saks, Bloomingdale's, Lord & Taylor, Barney's in New York. We also are working with Harrods in England. So those are sort of the department stores we're working with. We also have a lot of direct-to-consumer brands. These have been pretty interesting for us because they have been more averse to using some of the other marketplace solutions in China because they often require you do wholesale, whereas the Beyond app is more of like a Chinese interface that you stick on top of your own website. So we're working with some of these direct consumer brands like Everlane. We're about to launch Rothy's in the next few weeks, as well as a few other pretty good direct to consumer brands out of the US. And we also have started working more and more closely with cruelty-free beauty brands. As you may know, China requires animal testing on beauty products.
Right.
Is a big deal for many U.S. beauty brands. So we're starting to work with more cruelty-free brands like 100% Pure and Winky Lux out of New York, which we just launched, Besame Cosmetics out of L.A. So we're working with more and more of those brands as well.
Okay, got it. So mainly fashion and then like beauty, skincare, but it sounds like it's a range of both of like there's a little bit of higher end products, but also like more average pricing and everything. So
yeah, we're certainly selling a lot of more high end luxury products from like the Barneys and the Saks and the Harrods, but we also have some more mid range price points with our Lord and Taylor collaboration.
Got it. Okay, yeah, and then so. I was wondering, when your users go to the app, do they usually know what products they want? Like they specifically go to the app because they know that you guys work with that brand, or do they often go to the app to search around and discover new items and brands?
I think we have our customers they're different. Some of them are probably, they know what they exactly want. So they search directly in the search page. But some of them probably they don't know. They're discovering. Yeah. So that we provide a lot of content for them to recommend what you should buy, what you need to know about the fashion trend, what lipstick color is really popular in America, and what kind of color make your teeth look whiter, something like that. So to generally help people to make better decision, to find out the best thing in the world.
Yeah, like E said, we have a lot of shoppers who show up and they're kind of interested in exploring our content that we're making and discovering some of the new products available outside of China. Mm-hmm. But then we have other users who might, like Everlane, for example, has a call out on their international shipping page saying, if you want to ship to China, work with our partner Beyond app. And then it has a link to download our app. So these sorts of users would show up and they already know they want Everlane, and they would just use this as a tool to easily, purchase the Everlane product and get it shipped to China.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, in a moment, I want to go back to that content creation discussion, but I have one more question just about the app itself. So what are the requirements and I don't know if you're able to explain, but the costs for brands to join, because I know that that's also something that brands really consider when they're choosing between all these different cross-border e-commerce platforms in China. Some will take a huge commission, some cost a large upfront fee to join, so what is like the requirements and cost structure for brands who want to join Beyond?
Yeah, requirements and cost structure wise, we're about as merchant friendly as it gets in the e-commerce space. Unlike a Tmall, we don't require any sort of huge advertising spends or any upfront launch costs. You don't need to have an agency or a TP just to work with us. We basically work on a purely a commission model, which it varies. It's a little bit higher for brands and a little bit lower for multi-brand retailers or department stores. But it's pretty merchant friendly in terms of the take rate. We have a lot of partners who also have Tmall partnerships or even run a .cn, and they've said our model is by far the most cost-effective way to handle all the fulfillment issues in China and the marketing cost.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. Well, so now, like I said, I want to kind of continue that discussion about creating content and I guess marketing the products and the brands that are on Beyond. So. Like you were mentioning, there's a lot of brands that maybe don't have a presence in China yet. So, how are you guys promoting them and raising brand awareness in China for these brands?
That's a good question. We have more than 25 people doing marketing for Beyond, and part of them, about 15 of them, are doing contents for generally to introduce these brands in detail through articles and videos through different media. That's one thing. That's our content. We call an internal influencer, and we also use external influencer. For example, we work with top tier, second tier, mid tier influencer in China who have millions of followers and who are very who listen to who are very loyal to the influencer, and we also have social media, digital ads. We also have integrated marketing campaign. For example, every time when we are bringing on a new merchant or a brand, right? We did a lot of research on this brand or merchant. Try to position them or try to convey the message to Chinese customers by using the way that they are more and they're more open to.
Like framing this merchant within the context of maybe other brands they would have heard of before, maybe not the Lord and Taylor example.
Yeah, Lord and Taylor actually was a very successful case before. When Lord and Taylor got launched in our app, first of all we created a lot of content for them, and we had a integrated campaign. We were thinking how to position themselves, how to make our users remember them very easily and wanted to buy from them. We were thinking probably we can leverage probably some big names and highlight their long history. Because we found they are more than 120 years. They have more than 100 years longer than Macy's.
Oh.
And yeah, so it turned out. It turns out that we figure out a message that Lord and Taylor is could be the nanny of Macy's. And yeah, nanny and grand nanny has a very everybody has a very nice grand nanny, and so we try to position Lord and Taylor with their history, which equals to reputation and quality in China. So then after the campaign, a lot of our customers remember them as the grand nanny and call them, hey, the nanny, can we have more promotion from the nanny store? Yeah. So we did a lot of research and a discussion about how to position them, how to build the image to our customers. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, it really sounds like, that you guys are not only like an e-commerce platform, but you also are like a marketing agency for these brands and helping them to position themselves in the China market as well. That's really interesting that you guys put so much effort into that.
Yeah, we do have we like I said, a 25 people team. Some of them are doing like external promotion. Some of them are doing internal promotion. Influencer marketing is also one of our most important part.
Okay, so like you said, when you say like internal promotion and articles, so if somebody goes on the Beyond app, there's I'm guessing that there's places where they can see different types of content and learn about different products. That's kind of what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah. The content pieces, it could be something like, here's the new line of bags and denim from Madewell's fall collection. So it could be very simple, and it might even be mostly leveraging some of the existing content made by Madewell themselves. But it could also be something like, here are 7 sneaker types, 7 sneakers that are really hot in Shanghai right now. Mm-hmm. And all the Laopao, all the kind of old guns in Shanghai are really into them, but they're only available in the US. And here you can buy them through Finish Line. Mm-hmm. And we'll call out the products. And then, so it sort of runs the gamut of being our editors really running with what they think will be popular in China, to also just working with the brands, their existing content strategy, and just translating it and giving it a Chinese feel.
Okay, got it. So, because I was reading some information about Beyond that you had shared with me, and there was a term called Beyond Beauty Lab. So is that part of this like internal content creation team, or was this something different?
Yeah, this is Beyond Beauty Lab actually is a program that our content specialists / editors they created, because we have a lot of products that cannot be accessed in China, so we really wanted to utilize the Beyond Beauty Lab to generate authentic and original content, unique content for customers to figure out what exactly the product is, what's the benefits they can get from these products, how good they are, things like that. For example, like on some lipsticks, like YSL, they launched a new line of lipstick. Our beauty lab we're going to have editors to wear that on to try different colors, and also sometimes we burn them to see the ingredients, try to educate our customer about a product.
Okay, so kind of like the same, maybe similar content to what like an online public like beauty publication or kind of similar to what an influencer might do.
Yeah, but what is the difference is the uniqueness, because usually these contents are around the latest product, and you cannot find any content in China about these products.
Yeah, we're often the first media publication or anyone in China to do swatches for certain color products when they launch, to do them on Asian skin, to give the Chinese users some perspective as to what it would look like if they were to use the product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even earlier than, I guess, maybe I think it sounds like some of the content that you guys do is a little bit similar to what someone might find on like Xiaohongshu, but I'm guessing that maybe you guys get your hands on the products even earlier than some of the consumers on Xiaohongshu might.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes we're even getting the products before they've been released through our partnerships with the brands and retailers.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so I just, because this is the China Influencer Marketing Podcast, I want to talk a little bit about the fact that it sounds like you guys work with a lot of influencers, like external influencers as well, to help promote the brands that you work with. So I would love it if you could kind of talk about maybe who are these influencers, like which platforms do you typically work with, like as far as the influencers are on which platforms, and then also just why do you think it's important to use influencer marketing to promote these brands?
Well, the platforms we're using are well, everybody knows Weibo, right? That's the Chinese Twitter, and Weibo, B站, Bilibili.com, Miaopai. These are the platforms that I think a lot of brands are using, and WeChat as well. And recently, Douyin is rising up. But we haven't tried that yet because Douyin now have a very strict policy on managing their influencers, and they don't want brands to work with these influencers directly, but through Douyin, so that they can make more profit through this way. Beyond having, we haven't worked with Douyin KOLs, but we're trying to find some to start trying Douyin influencer and performance. But so far, Weibo, Bilibili, WeChat, and these are all very good platform to work with.
Okay, and why, I mean, I think probably a lot of the audience understands, but I would just love to hear your perspective as to why you think that influencer marketing is an important marketing tool. Why do you use this as a way to promote brands as opposed to, I mean, I'm sure you do other methods as well, like, advertising and things like that. But why do you use influencer marketing?
Well, we use video marketing, video influencers a lot. Well, take video influencers as an example. I think these are their contents are much more vivid than just, and they're also very persuasive, convincing, because they're kind of like a real friends talking to you. Or they're you're like your sister trying to teach you how to do makeup, right? It's not like the traditional media. It's very boring and very serious and always flawless, but you don't have the trust to do them. But these influencers are, I think now a lot of people listen to them because they are very real and authentic, very personal. Yeah. And probably many of your audience already know that influencer actually play a very important role in marketing world in China. You might hear a lot of stories, a lot of legendary in the influencer marketing world, like Mr. Bag sells like 3.24 million renminbi bags in just 6 minutes, and a top tier influencer in China sells like 150 Mini Cooper in very short amount of time. So people are seeing the performance. So I think that's why people really want to work with them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that I think the biggest thing is like what you said, that they're very personable and they make you feel like they're your friend. They're more relatable than, you know, traditional media or advertisements. So I was wondering though, so if you're working with these external influencers, how, you know, talking about a product that you're selling on, or a brand that's on Beyond, how do you drive the traffic back to Beyond? Just because I think a lot of Chinese social media platforms have a lot of restrictions about linking and mentioning other platforms. So how do you guys deal with this problem? A lot of people are asking me about these kinds of problems all the time. So I'm curious as to how you guys handle it.
That's a great question. You knew a lot about Chinese social media platforms. Well, for us, again, we really want to make our content very authentic. Sometimes we don't even claim in the content that this is a like advertisement. We really wanted it to, first of all, we always ask influencers to place the order on Beyond and experience the whole process and experience the product by themselves. And if they really like the products, they recommend it. And if they have some negative feeling, we also encourage them to talk about that in the ad, in the content. So we're trying to make the content very authentic, very real, and very subjective, so that that's why we do that, because we want to get rid of the feeling of ads. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we don't want people to feel that, oh, this is an ad, and generated an adverse experience about that naturally.
Okay, so usually most of the time you're not actually trying to link back to the platform. You're just hoping that you know, if people are interested in these brands, that then they'll go look for them on Beyond.
Yeah, correct. And we the product promoted in these content are always very unique in our platform, so that we can track if these first of all, we can track if the traffic goes up at the time the influencer talked about us, and second, we can track the sales number of these unique products.
Okay, so maybe the products that you're choosing to promote are more exclusive to your platform, so it's really obvious that there's a connection, as opposed to something that might also be available somewhere else, and then you can't really tell if the traffic was from you guys, like from your. Okay, I got it now. I was wondering, because I think it's really awesome that you are letting the influencers create that type of content. A lot of brands really hold tight, and they don't want to let influencers, you know, like you said, say maybe some negative things, or you know, kind of just be themselves. You know, they want it to sound all pretty and everything. So when you guys are marketing on the behalf of other brands, are you having to run all the content like through the brand first before you publish it, or is the brand just like, go ahead and market us in China, like you do what you think is best? Like how does that dynamic work?
That really depends on the brand. We get some brands that are very, very hands off. We've worked with them for a long time, and they sort of trust they trust the sales numbers that they see every month, and they know that what we're doing must be working. So they're very hands off about what sort of content we create and how we go about presenting their brand, because they have faith that we're going to do a good job. On the other hand, we do have some, especially some of the luxury brands, who are quite picky and will often, maybe even before we launch them, they'll request that they have a sit down with our marketing team to talk about what is on brand for Alexander Wang, or what is on brand for Tom Ford Beauty, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of expected with luxury. Typically is like that. But I mean, that's really amazing that you guys have those other brands that kind of give you free reign. And I think that's really smart of those brands, because then you're able to create better content for them. So that's really awesome that those brands are so trusting. That's really great. So when you guys are selecting influencers, how do you go about doing that? I mean, do you just have like a pool of influencers that you work with on a consistent basis, or are you like constantly searching for new ones? Like how do you choose which influencers to work with?
We actually have a very big database of all the influencers in China. We always trying to work with the new ones, because bringing in new customers are very important to us. But it also depends on brands' requirement. Sometimes brands they probably need to they have more, and they have different requirements or different requests, then we do it different. Probably we'll work with a KOL twice or third times. But usually for me, usually we just looking for new KOLs to influencers, and we have the database with a lot of information in it. For example, like the category, what kind of content they do. They do makeup, or they do like fashion, or they do sneakers, right? This kind of category. And we also look at, well, there are basically two things we look into. One is their content. If their content very authentic, is there a lot of advertisement they did in their content? If they do have a lot of advertisement, probably their user might not be very loyal. Yeah, and we also look at their fans, their followers as well. We check out if their followers are very active. Do their followers have followers? Are they zombie fans? Or yeah, like and one more important thing is their followers' expectation of this of a certain influencer. If their followers are expecting to see some funny things, they might not be ready to be convert to buy something. But if their followers are expecting to learn more knowledge about makeup, or the newest trend of fashion, and the influencer talked about it, they will be very easily to take that. You know what I mean? So these kind of to try to figure out their expectation would be very helpful to know if your campaign would be successful or not.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's like, there's a lot of people out there that have really big followings, and they make super funny videos that get all these millions of views and likes and everything. But like, they're not really good for working with brands, because people are following them because they want to be entertained, not because they want to like learn about products or research products or anything. So I think like the most that they can get from, that a brand could get from working with that type of influencer is like awareness, like they could put do product placement, and people might see the product and kind of just see it in the background. But I don't think it's it's not really good for kind of conversion and really understanding the brand or the product. So I definitely agree that that's important to kind of separate the different types of influencer content.
Totally.
Awesome. I mean, I feel like I've asked so many questions, and I understand the platform a lot better myself now. Is there anything else that I haven't already asked you guys about Beyond, how it works, anything that you guys would like to share that we haven't talked about already, or do we cover everything?
Well, have you seen any interesting trends and what types of influencers have converted really well in 2018 compared to 2017?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, recently we're seeing that KOL actually, influencer. In China, I always say KOL. That's
I think Lauren's followers are probably pretty.
I think it's okay if you use that word. People are gonna generally will understand. On most of the listeners will anyway.
Great. Yeah, KOLs. Well, last year actually, Beyond benefited a lot from KOL marketing, and we worked with a lot of KOLs and bring us a lot of new users. And this year, these influencers keep bring us a lot of exposure, but we're seeing less new users, less conversion.
Yeah, and these are the sorts of influencers that they're only famous for their social media presence. Uh-huh. That's really the extent of their claim to fame, is they've just made enough good content to sort of rack up a lot of followers.
Yeah.
You mean as opposed to like being a professional outside of that, or what?
Exactly. So you've been saying that this year in 2018, one of the bigger trends has been that celebrities who are also influencers in their own right by having lots of followers are converting a little better.
Yeah. We're seeing celebrity actually. For example, if you I know that you knew Xiaohongshu, right? Xiaohongshu, they are changing them to bring traffic more to celebrities, like the top tier actress, but not to regular KOLs. And we're feeling the same way. Actually, KOLs, they do have some exposure this year, but not necessarily bring a lot of conversion for us anymore.
It's not as much of a gold rush.
Yeah.
It's still a lucrative business, but not quite the gold rush that it was in 2017.
Correct.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm very aware of that trend on Xiaohongshu, but it's interesting that it seems to be a greater trend overall. Do you think it has to do with people like influencer marketing is just a little saturated these days? Like there's just too many influencers promoting things, or do you have any guess of like why that might be happening?
Yeah, actually, my feeling is that there are a lot of KOLs in the market, and many of them are doing very similar content, and they also in their content there are a lot of advertisement. People are kind of like, I'm not sure if it's like getting sick of it, or they just don't think this is a very they're not as loyal as before.
Yeah, I do see that. I do feel like, especially if you maybe compare, I guess if you compare like Western social media platforms, I mean, there are a lot of people that are very similar and yeah, they do the same types of content, but I think there's a little bit more diversity. And I think that sometimes in China, like everyone kind of follows the same trends and they look the same. I mean, there's like the saying like Wang Hong Lian, like, that they all have the same face and, and like over the past year, we've seen everyone has started to follow this hip hop rapping trend. It's like, it's just like everyone just started rapping and wearing street clothes all of a sudden, and so I do think that it can get a little homogenous in when it comes to like influencers and social media content in China. So I think that could be a possible reason.
Yeah, I totally agree. So this year we're seeing a lot of traffic or a lot of focus or shift to celebrities. And that's probably, we call it a bigger influencer, right? We're trying to work with these giant influencers as well.
Okay, so you guys have started to explore that option too.
Yeah, correct.
They're much more expensive though.
Yeah. which is hard to swallow because influencers in China are already pretty expensive. So, yeah, that's a lot of money, I'm sure.
Yeah. And the way working with them are very different as well.
In what sense?
Yeah, for example, like in China, KOLs that you can just negotiate the price first, and then they're gonna do what the brand requires them to do, or right. But celebrities, they never give you the price first. They always ask you, what do you want me? What's your request?
They're not necessarily for sale.
Yeah.
They might turn you down regardless of the money on the table.
Yeah.
I think influencers need to be more like that. That's how influencers should be too. They should be finding out what the work is and what the product and everything is first before they agree to it.
Well, for KOLs, actually, they definitely need. We definitely tell them like who Beyond is and what we want to do. Well, it's just much easier.
Maybe they don't go into as much of the specifics as maybe the celebrity would before they agree to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super interesting, and I'm really glad, McDavid, that you posed that question and brought that up, because I think that people are definitely going to be fascinated by this trend that's going on. So thank you for sharing. So if people want to learn more about Beyond, what is the best way to do so?
Well, if your iPhone has the simplified Mandarin Chinese keyboard, you can go to the App Store and type in 别样 and download our app. Otherwise, you can check out Jing Daily or WWD. Both those publications have done some good coverage on our platform and in the English language, so you can kind of get a good sense for what it is that we're up to.
Okay, and I probably have it, but what is the like your official website as well if people want to go there?
So the company is actually called borderxlab.com. So that's like border, like cross the border, the letter X, and then lab, lab.com.
Okay, awesome. I will include all of this in the show notes. So thank you so much for coming on. I think, you guys are definitely an up and coming platform. And like you said, there's a little bit of information out there about you guys, but still not a lot. So I think this will really help people understand who you are.
Agreed. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us, Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren.
Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that interview with McDavid and E. As usual, you can find links in the show description or in the show notes on ChinaInfluencerMarketing.com. If you liked this episode and know somebody else who might like it too, don't forget to share. Thanks, and talk to you next week.